Alright guys, Revolver Wrestler here, and today I'm going to be reviewing SummerSlam Sunday 2025. I'm recording this review a lot earlier today, much earlier than I did for the review of SummerSlam Saturday, just because I stayed up last night to actually watch the show, so I could get it done this morning. Um, a couple of things first. I'm on the newer laptop, so hopefully we don't have any issues of anything. And secondly, the dog is currently asleep on my lap. So if you hear any little pitter patter of feet, that'll be her. Lucha Bro shirt today. I don't have a drink. I've not really prepared for this. We're just going to try and get through it. So SummerSlam Sunday, I said I was pretty much really looking forward to. TLC match, a bunch of gimmick matches, maybe too many on one show, but a bunch of gimmick matches. Loads of stuff was going to happen, and we'd probably have some big news given it's a SummerSlam show. So the show kicked off, and I believe it was Triple H in the ring again, welcoming us to SummerSlam. Opening contest was the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship, as Naomi defended against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. So, as you all know, the three-way at Mania between Io, Rhea, and Bianca Belair, I gave 5 stars. I thought that match was absolutely unbelievable. And so I was excited for this, quite excited. Naomi is not Bianca Belair, not quite. But Io and Rhea are terrific. And one thing I'm kind of upset I haven't talked about on the channel is Evolution, where Rhea and Io had an unbelievably great singles match. Just an absolutely terrific match. And that is where Naomi cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase and won the Women's World Championship in quite a surprise, but also at a really cool moment, I bet, for Naomi. Since she returned in 2024, she's sort of been second fiddle to Jade and to Bianca, to Rhea. So probably feels really good for Naomi to get that world title and to have a big SummerSlam match. Naomi was played to the ring by her dad, which I bet was really nice as well. And this was a more traditional three-way than the one at Mania, but in a weird way. So the match started, and obviously Io and Rhea both went for Naomi, and they double-teamed her until Rhea hit a big boot on Io Sky, and that allowed Naomi to take control of both women. Naomi was working over both women, and she had the match pretty much totally in her control. One of them would be sent out of the ring, and Naomi would work on the other one, headlocks and chin locks and things like that. And it was okay, but it was really baffling booking. Naomi is the heel here, and she literally, these women had a 26-minute battle at the last pay-per-view, and it seemed very weird that Naomi was just completely in control of both women as the heel. But I digress. Eventually, obviously, Rhea would get back into the matchup. Io hit a tilt-a-whirl DDT on Rhea. Rhea hit a electric chair facebuster on Io. Naomi at one point, while Io and Rhea were up top, kicked Rhea's leg out from underneath her, hit a split leg moonsault on Rhea, and as she went for the cover, Io went for an over the moonsault on Naomi. Naomi moved, so Io hit Rhea, and then Naomi attacked Io with the Bubba Bomb, and then that was a near fall. Rhea got a near fall off of a Riptide at one point. Io did a dive to the outside. She did the moonsault to the outside. Just a really, really well wrestled match in the end, really, by all three women. Finish came when Rhea and Io were on the top rope. Io went for like a top rope Hurricane Rana, and Rhea caught her, hit an avalanche Riptide. Naomi ran in the ring as Rhea was pinning Io, rolled her up with the tights. 1, 2, 3. Naomi retains. Predictable finish. It's a finish that we see all the time. And it was a really predictable finish, and it did dampen the match a little bit. And of the really baffling decision to have Naomi just be completely in control of both women was also a bit strange. I'm going to give the match 4 stars. I thought it was a great match. Just about. I think it took a while to get to be a great match. The crowd were really hot for the entrances. Rhea and Io got really, really good crowd reactions. But the beginning of the matchup, really quiet. And I think that's because Naomi's heat was just so dominant. It was really bizarre that they had Naomi just completely walk both the women in the beginning. But in the end, Naomi does get the win. I do think it was a great match. I'm going to say 4 stars. It was nowhere near as good as the match at Mania, but it was a great match. And probably one of Naomi's best matches ever. Like, she was really good here. When she needed to be, she was really good in this matchup. It sounds horrible, but you can see that there is quite a difference, though, between Io and Rhea and Naomi. But a great match. Naomi did step up, and it was a great match. 4 stars, great way to open the show. As far as opening match of SummerSlam wise, I'd probably say I preferred the tag a bit better. Better crowd, I think, and sometimes that's quite important in an opening match. Second match on the show was the match I was most looking forward to all weekend. Tables, ladders, and chairs. 6 teams, 12 men for the WWE Tag Team Championships. You had the Wyatt Six, who of course came out with Uncle Howdy, Abigail, which is Nikki Cross, and Eric Rowan. So they were obviously represented by Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. You had DIY, the Motor City Machine Guns, and the Street Profits, who, when they all came out, I went, God, their musical sucks. Like, the Street Profits used to have such good music. DIY, when they were in NXT, had such good music, and actually, individually, both had really good music. And then the Guns came out, and I was like, God, their TNA music was so good. But I digress. So there's those 3 teams. There was also Andrade and Phoenix, just sort of thrown together. And there was also Fraxium, Nathan Frazier, and Axiom. So this was my most anticipated match of SummerSlam weekend, and it did not disappoint. This was fucking mental. There was so much shit going on in this match, and basically everybody died. As Lance Archer would say, everybody dies. So at the beginning, just a bunch of dives. Fraxium were hitting dives on DIY. The Guns were hitting dives on, I believe, the Wyatt Six. This was after everybody just teamed up on Loomis and Gacy at the bell. Just a bunch of crazy, crazy stuff. Big ladder hits from DIY. Dropkick into the ladder, I believe, happened to DIY as well. The Profits did a bunch of stuff. Uh, you know, Ford and a bunch of rat hands and kicks and stuff like that. They were gonna DIY were gonna throw Montez Ford through a table in the corner, but as they went to throw him through it, he actually leaped over the table in the corner and did a tope onto a bunch of people. That was a really cool spot. And then it broke down into sort of sections of twos. And Gacy, Joe Gacy, had taken a bit earlier on in the match. He took a back body drop onto a ladder from the Street Profits, which he first missed, and they gave him a second one, which he completely hit. And I saw a picture of his back after the matchup, and it looked like he got really cut up from that. So it broke off into like pairs, and Johnny Gargano hit a one final beat DDT over the apron to Joe Gacy, who just went through a table, only just. After that, Dexter Lumis did a jumping leg drop to Montez Ford through a table off the post. That looked crazy. Probably the scariest spot Dexter Lumis has ever done. On the other side, you had Rey Fenix doing a frog splash from the post to the floor to Nathan Frazier. And in the last spot, you had Angelo Dawkins on the post, on the top, and he was going to do a splash to Tommaso Ciampa through a table on the floor. And instead, Axiom gave Angelo Dawkins a head kick, and he gave Angelo Dawkins a Spanish fly through 2 tables on the floor. I thought he'd fucking died. It was crazy, and Ciampa did get out of the way, because if he didn't, he would have died. After all this chaos, we had the WrestleMania 17 sort of tribute period of the show where Candice LeRae comes in the ring and she's going to climb the ladder, and Ciampa and Gargano are holding the ladder for her. And I believe, actually, no, wait. before that happened. Candice gets in the ring and she's trying to climb the ladder, and B-Fab, who's obviously helping the Profits, she gets in, she takes out Candice LeRae, and then Abby the Witch gets in the ring and she takes out B-Fab. Candice LeRae eventually does get back up the ladder, and Ciampa and Gargano are holding the ladder for Candice so she can get up and retrieve the belts for them. Ciampa goes to punch Montez Ford on the apron. Montez blocks it, hits a head kick, which knocks Ciampa backwards into Gargano, who accidentally pushes the ladder over. Candice goes tumbling out of the ring through a ladder. I thought she died as well. Then Eric Rowan comes in the ring and he chokeslams everyone. Chokeslams DIY. And he eventually gets pounced through a table by Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. We then have 3 ladders in the ring with a ladder bridge in between the middle one and the ropes. DIY are on one side, the Guns are on the other, and in the middle is the Street Profits, I think. And what happens is Uncle Howdy comes in the ring and he pushes one ladder over and the Profits go into the ropes. He pushes the other ladder over and DIY go crashing through 2 tables at ringside. 4 tables, actually. It looked like they died as well. And then Uncle Howdy tries to climb the ladder, but he is given a sunset flip powerbomb to the ladder by Andrade. So he's now dead. Andrade, though, is then killed by Gacy and Loomis, I believe, with a powerbomb neckbreaker combo. And so was Rey Fenix. Rey Fenix was killed with something as well. And then Joe Gacy climbs the ladder, retrieves the titles. The Wyatt Six, Gacy and Dexter Loomis retain in a unbelievable 12-man. There was a lot of bodies. There was 50. There was nearly 20 people involved with this match, and honestly, it was fucking fantastic. I'm going to give it 4 3/4 stars. I thought this was pretty awesome. I don't think it was as good as the TLC match on SmackDown after WrestleMania with DIY, the Guns, and the Profits. There was less bodies in that one, and it was a little bit easier to keep track of. And it's really hard for the cameraman to keep track of 12 people doing things. And, people were just set up on tables, and it was just like there was no setup to it. So, yeah, it's still an unbelievable match. 4 3/4 stars. I was so excited for it, and it's delivered. And it only had to about 16 minutes. And sometimes, TLC 2, the famous WrestleMania 17 TLC match, I think that was only 15 minutes long. So sometimes that's all you need. Unbelievable stuff. 4 3/4 stars. Really, really enjoyed this. Third on the show, Lyra Valkyria, challenging Becky Lynch, the Man, for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This is the best feud they've done for the belt. Easily. It's the most high profile the belt has been in. And Lyra and Becky have had some really good matches. The Backlash match in particular was really, really good. And this was a no DQ, no countout match, which basically was just a no DQ match. And this was really good. The crowd were quite quiet though. Really good. The crowd were quite quiet. The crowd were quite quiet. That's a horrible sentence to say. And they did a lot of stuff. Kendo sticks early from Becky on Lyra, and Lyra was mostly just taking a lot of the punishment. And Becky at one point zip-tied Lyra's hands together. She put her in a zip tie, and she was beating her up with a wrench, beating her up with a chair, beating her up with kendo sticks. Lyra would get put around the ring post, and Becky was just destroying with a kendo stick. It reminded me of a spot between John Cena and Randy Orton at Breaking Point 15 years ago. Are you okay, Ellie? I know. Do you want to say hi? Just say hi. This is Ellie. This is my doggy. And say hi. No. Do you want to get down? Do you want to settle? Do you not like Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch? I do, so you're lucky. Yeah, so Lyra's just zip tied, and she eventually catches Becky in a in like she basically puts the zip ties around Becky and is headbutting her, and that nearly broke the zip ties, but it didn't. Lyra went face first into an exposed turnbuckle and took a manhandle slam through some chairs for a near fall. Just a lot of stuff here. Like Lyra eventually would get out of the zip ties and get her own back on Becky. Kendo stick shots. Are you okay, Ellie? Oh, she's going into her bed. She's a good girl. Um, she would give her some kendo stick shots, and eventually, though, Becky would. She'd used a chain earlier in the match around Lyra's face and would be pulling it against the ring post. Becky would lock Lyra this time in a steel chair, and she would push her against the announce table, jump on the announce table, and then stomp the chair, injuring Lyra's chest and ribs. But Becky got a crowbar and was going to hit the chair into Lyra. But Bayley came out, grabbed the crowbar, and attacked Becky. Bayley sent Becky into the dasher boards and stuff. She went for a running something into them, but eventually went into the crowd and took a fairly nasty looking bump. Becky got herself up on her table that had been set up at ringside, but Lyra gave her the leg drop to the back of the head through the table. This was after earlier in the match she had hit the Nightwing on Becky for a near fall too. Lyra got Becky in the ring and she was going for something, but Bayley went for a forearm to Becky, but ended up hitting Lyra instead. Becky hit the manhandle slam on Lyra and pinned her 1, 2, 3. This match went 25 minutes, and this crowd were really quiet. They were pretty much like a New Japan crowd, like a Tokyo Dome crowd, where they'd clap when something good happens, and they'd go, "Oh," when something cool happened, but they weren't that excited about this, which is a shame because these women actually worked really hard. And 25 minutes for this, and a lot of it was based on weapons and just doing weapons stuff. And some of it was really creative, so I do give them a little bit of credit for that. But it maybe went a little bit long. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think a lot of people have given this much higher than me, probably 4.5. I'm going to give it 4. The crowd not being into it, and it did go a little bit long. The finish was okay. I actually thought Lyra would win the belt back, so a little bit surprised that Becky retained here. Lyra, we still need to keep her in this sort of pit, this sort of echelon of stars, because she's come out of this feud, even though she lost here, looking really good. He's just falling asleep. So yeah, 4 stars. This show so far, absolutely cooking. 4 stars, 4.75 stars, and then 4 stars. So absolutely cooking. Really, really going well so far. 4th match on the show, the steel cage match between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. So Solo won the belt in June at King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring, and fair enough. This was a match I was least looking forward to, and realistically, it was the worst thing on the show. They just threw each other into the cage and did a couple of things. Jacob at one point hit two. He hit his Impaler DDT and hit 2 best moonsaults ever. 2 best moonsaults ever. 2. Oh my goodness, how do you say that? He hit 2 moonsaults, and Jacob Solo kicked out, and I was like, why? Why did we have him kick out here? Like, very weird. Just let him hit 1. Genuinely, it was really silly that they killed Jacob's finish, which apparently no one's kicked out of. And now they have. So, yeah. So, that was a bit weird. Solo hit a spike for a near fall as well. Eventually, all of the MFTs, which is Talatonga, Tangaloa, and JC Mateo, a name I still hate. Maybe Ellie just wants to let him outside. Sorry about that. The weather's not great here, so she doesn't really want to go outside. So yeah, so all of the MFTs came out to help Solo and to aid Jacob. Jimmy Uso came out. He super kicked JC Mateo. He super kicked Tonga Loa, but eventually got big booted by Talatonga. Talatonga and Tonga Loa climbed the cage, and Talatonga, which is Hikuleo, he handcuffed Jacob to the cage, and Solo's crawling towards the door, and Jacob breaks the handcuffs, jumps for him, pulls him back in the ring. Solo kicks him off, and as they're both crawling towards the door again, Hikuleo kicks the door into Jacob's face. Solo crawls out, and Solo retains the United States Championship. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 stars. Like, it was fine. Like, it could have been worse. Like, I'm not that interested in Solo Sikoa in general. I think he's okay, but Jacob's grand. Like, man, that guy's going to be a star soon. Um, but yeah, 2 3/4 stars. That's the door opening. That was absolutely terrifying. Um, sorry, I'm all over the place. So after the matchup, Jimmy Uso sent JC Mateo into the ring, and Jacob gave JC Mateo and Ellie, I know. Apparently, she just wanted to sit on my lap. I've noticed I'm very far away from the screen suddenly. Sorry. So yeah, the moonsault off the cage at the end from Jacob was cool, and it was the best part of the whole thing. But yeah, this was easily the worst thing on the show so far. Which, to be fair, would have been challenging because wouldn't have been a challenge. Sorry, because everything on the show was so good so far. Fifth thing on the show, I think before this match we had Stephanie come out and announce the attendance for both nights. Biggest SummerSlam ever. This is the new thing. We're doing a 2 night SummerSlam every year. Realistically, a show that actually probably could use 2 nights is the Rumble because of how long each Rumble is. And you could just main event each show with the Rumble, but I digress. Fifth match on the show, the Intercontinental Championship match, AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio. This was a big Eddie tribute match, basically. I need to make sure that I don't charge as well. That would be disastrous. This was a big Eddie tribute match. AJ came out dressed like Eddie Guerrero, and he came out with Lowrider, and it was just a bunch of tribute spots. So they did the chair spot where Dom went and got a chair, smacked the canvas, threw it to AJ, fell to the mat, and then AJ wrapped it around his head and fell to the mat. And the finish was also Eddie inspired too. We also got some Eddie tributes in that TLC match because Andrade and Phoenix at one point did stereo Three Amigos, which was weird because they did that in the ring, but they did it while there was ladders and tables and stuff, and I was like, how is there enough space to do this? But yeah, there wasn't too much in this match. Like Eddie. AJ countered a frog splash into a calf kill at one point, which was cool. Um, and it was a relatively good match. AJ's great, but he is coming to the end, and Dom's good. So finish came. AJ's got the calf killer on the calf crusher. Sorry, the calf crusher locked in on. Let's make sure my phone's silent. Yeah. The calf crusher locked in, and the boot comes off. He turns around, goes to hit Dom, but Dom pulls the referee in the way. As the referee's distracted, Dom hits AJ with the boot, hits him with a frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Dominic Mysterio retains the IC title. A good tribute finish. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Like it was good, realistically, and nothing was bad. It was just a match at this point. Like we had 4 matches with steel cage, TLC, no disqualification. We were gonna have a street fight. So yeah, this was good. It was fine. Uh, Dom's Dom needs a feud, like a proper feud for this title. Something, anything. In fact, I would give him a feud with someone that everyone believes is going to lose to, like a Bron Breakker or a Bronson Reed or something. Because crowd were well into him in this match. There was a lot of Dirty Dom chants. And then we moved into the main event in this weird saga we've had. John Cena defending the WWE Championship, the Never Seen 17, against the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. I gave their WrestleMania match 3.5 stars. That was a tad generous, and I don't know why I did it. It was a slow match. It was really boring, and I think I just liked the crowd. And this match here, I didn't have super high hopes for because Cena's matches in this title reign have been really long, and they've been just long in the tooth, and they've had pretty much the same finish. However, we had a development on Friday when John Cena apparently just turned babyface all of a sudden. And I was talking with my friend about it, and I was like, it's got to just be a ruse or a double turn or something. And this match, however, I thought it'd be a ruse, a double turn, or whatever. This match was just a babyface versus babyface match. And if I told you that John Cena in 2025 had a 37-minute match, I bet you would be amazed. And I bet would be even more amazed if I told you that it was fucking fantastic. This match with Cody was just them hitting a bunch of moves on each other, but it was so good, so exciting, so entertaining, and I should really talk about it. So they went after each other at the bell, just striking each other, and it wasn't long before they were hitting big moves, like Cody would hit a Cody cutter and a disaster kick on the apron. Um, all the sort of bits. They would use chairs on each other. Steiner at one point got the big stage steps in the ring and just lobbed them out the ring at Cody, hitting AA for a near fall. Cody would obviously hit a crossroads. Cody hit a pile driver on John Cena for a near fall, only about halfway into the match, which was crazy. John Cena hit a couple more AAs. He hit. They were outside the ring, and Cody sent John Cena into the timekeeper's area, and as he went to get him over the timekeeper's area, John hit him with a microphone. He hit him with a code red on the floor, which looked really good. And then he cleared off both announce tables and hit an AA to Cody off one announce table through the other, which was absolutely crazy. And Cody looked like he barely landed on the table, bless him. They brawled in the crowd, just like doing some normal crowd brawling, and they brawled to the back, but through the curtain that's below the stage. And then Cody's elevator that he comes to the ring on, basically, it started coming up. And as it came up, John Cena had Cody on his shoulders. He was smiling. He gave Cody a throwing AA on the ramp, but it looked like the stiffest AA anyone's ever taken. Cody landed completely on his side. And that was crazy. They did a bunch more things. John carried Cody back to the ring, but as John put Cody in the ring, Cody just threw Cena through a table, hit a crossroads, he hit 3 crossroads, I believe, for another near fall. He picked up the title belt, and he was going to hit Cena with it, and he did not debate it in his mind. He went to do it, but Cena caught him. He gave him 2 AAs. He then picked up the belt himself and said, "No, don't need it." Threw it down. Went to the corner. Gave Cody an avalanche AA. 1-2. Cody kicked out. The crowd were very much Cena fans here. But I will say at the finish, they did cheer the finish. So Cody kicked out of this avalanche AA. Cena gets a table in the ring, and he's just like, "It's all I can do. It's the only thing I got left." And he put the table in the ring. He went for an avalanche AA, and from the top, Cody hit a top rope Cody cutter. And I mean, calling it a Cody cutter would be generous. He basically just pulled Cena off the top rope through a table, and it looked a bit crap. But hey, some things don't always come off. So that was pretty crazy. He picked Cena. No, he didn't. Cena was against the ropes, dead, and Cody gave him a final salute. He picked him up, hit a single crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody wins the WWE Championship, which I wasn't surprised about. I thought he would win the belt, but I am a bit surprised that it was just a babyface versus babyface street fight. And you know what? It was really, really fucking good. Like, it was really enjoyable. It was exciting. You didn't really know which way it was going to go. You kept thinking that someone would get involved, someone would turn, something would happen, and it didn't. And it almost made it more dramatic that nothing happened. It was crazy, and it was a great match. Really, really super stuff. A match that is well over delivered. given what we'd seen before, given what seen the title matches has been before this year, given his age. They just went out there and said, right, let's just hit a bunch of moves. Most people's main criticism is Cena did a bunch of AAs. They just kicked out of a bunch of finishers. And he did, but one AA was on the ramp, so it's not like he could pin him. One AA was outside the ring, so he couldn't pin him. Cody did a bunch of stuff outside the ring as well, like all the gobbledygook stuff. But he couldn't be pinned, so I don't think it was the end of the world that they hit a million moves. It was Cena's last title match ever, realistically, so I don't mind it. It's his last SummerSlam. It's main event. It's Cody Rhodes. It's WWE Championship. It's Superman. Or people were chanting Super Cena at one point, as in like a tribute to him. It was Super Cena against Super Cody, and in the end, Super Cody won. And it was a classic, awesome, really great babyface match. Probably one of the best babyface versus babyface matches WWE have ever put on. And it was grand. For a lot of people have gone 5. I don't think I can, because if it's 5, I would tell you it was 5, and I just know. But I'm going to go 4.5. I think it was better than Punk and Gunther, and it was more enjoyable to watch. But realistically, the TLC match was probably better. 4.5 stars. It was absolutely grand, and that is the door opening again because of the wind. After the match, John Cena raises Cody's hand and embraces him, and Cody, as the gentleman he is, gives Cena the ring. And Cena, is having 5 minutes with the crowd and is enjoying it, and he goes to leave. And then Brock Lesnar's music hits. And he comes out with his long hair and his cowboy hat and his jacket, and he walks down to the ring, and he takes a moment to stare at Cena, and Cena is ready to fight. He gets in the ring, F5 Cena, and that's how the show goes off the air. Brock's return has ruffled some feathers. Brock Lesnar's one of my favourites of all time, but the Vince lawsuit, has really soured me on ever seeing him again. If Brock is here, it makes me think that there is something in the lawsuit that favours him. So I don't know. I never thought we'd see Brock Lesnar again. So we did get a big return. It was Brock Lesnar. A lot of people are really not happy about it though. And to me, I was a bit uneasy. I was a bit like, right, this company have been in such good, they've been so sort of morally good for the last couple of years. I mean, Saudi shows aside, and this felt a bit touchy. But that's how the show went off the air, and it went off the air this year with a fantastic match and obviously a really big return. So, SummerSlam Sunday, in review, was fucking really good. Like, there was the IC title match and the US title match, which were kind of TV matches. But the rest of the show was unbelievable. Like, 4 stars, 4.75, 4 stars, a 4.5 star main event, which a lot of people have gone 5 for, by the way. A lot of people have gone 5. I just think I can't go 5. Like, I can't. They just hit a bunch of big moves. Like, you know what I mean? But it was still great. So it was a great show. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It was much better than Saturday. My matches of the weekend would probably be the TLC, the Cena Rhodes match, and then Gunther Punk in that order. Unbelievable. Really, really good show. If you want to count this as a single night of SummerSlam, it's probably one of the best nights of SummerSlam ever. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. This has been Revolver Ocelot. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I'm sorry about the bittiness of me having to pause it and sort out the dog and stuff like that. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think of SummerSlam? What did you think of Brock Lesnar's return? What did you think to Cena losing the WWE Championship? What did you think to the match they had? The TLC spectacle that was earlier in the show. Lyra and Becky. The 3-way for the women. The women have put in a fairly good, it's done really well this year at SummerSlam. And what did you think to the 2 mid-card title matches in the middle of the show? Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Ocelot. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Next time you see me, I'll probably be married. So, thanks for watching, guys.